Beyond Kicks podcast, where we talk about everything.
I'm a big stickler on material and quality. Everyone was hyping those up, and I just was not a huge. I didn't even go for them.
I just fell in love with shoes from that.
I think it's another money grab. So that's why I think this podcast will be really interesting.
You came up basketball, and I'm skateboarding. They pretty much, they are sneaker culture. What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Beyond Kicks podcast. I am Seth, a.k.a. Same Old Sneakers. Wow, I can't even speak. And obviously, I have...
And I'm Charlie. I'm Charlie.
Exactly.
Kicks. See, we're even getting used to the intros.
Yeah, we love it, dude. But yeah, what were you saying? Let's dive into that.
So, it's been a busy few days for me. I saw you were in Orlando. How was that?
I was. Yeah. We both had busy weekends. We were all over the place.
Yes.
All over the place.
So, I want to get into Orlando as well, but I went to Utah for SneakerCon, and it was the first time SneakerCon was ever in Utah. So, it was,
I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. It was a one-day event. Usually they do 2-dayers for bigger events like Dallas. We have coming up in October. It's a 2-day event. That's going to be really big, but usually it's a 2-day event if it's a solid venue. And so Utah was a new one, and so they just did the 1-day event, and you kind of never know. I've only been to one other 1-day, and that was Atlanta. Was Atlanta a 2-day?
It was 2, yeah.
Well, then never mind. This was the first 1-day event. Yeah, because that's where I met you, was Atlanta. So
it was.
It was interesting because I flew in. I didn't sleep the night before because I had a 2-hour drive to the airport. My flight was at 6 a.m.
I feel you there.
Just great. And then it ended up getting delayed, so I left at 7 a.m., which...
Really?
That. Yep, could have gotten an extra... I could have actually slept for an hour, but, I mean, it is what it is.
That's the worst.
So, landed in Salt Lake. Initial thoughts, I thought it was pretty cool. It's a very...
it's a beautiful area. I've always wanted to go there. It's gorgeous. The mountains.
Yeah, it's very, flying in. You're kind of flying into the city, and we did, a big, turnaround towards the airport, so we kind of got to see the lay of the land, and it was very, Mad Max,
so cool.
Desert.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Very not like Minnesota. So I thought the city was pretty cool. Just kind of hung out that night, met up with a bunch of people, and then day number 2, we had the event, so that was the next day. And the first day, we kind of got to go around and to shops and stuff. We went to the mall. We went to, I think it was called Top Shelf Sneaker Store, so that was a pretty cool place. I like the layout there. We got to hang out with the private selection guys and kind of chat shoes for a while, so pretty cool. And then the event was surprisingly big. It was a 1-day, so you kind of never know how they go, but it was huge.
Definitely.
I mean, everyone that was working it and was there to film content and stuff was really surprised by the turnout because it's kind of a shot in the dark.
You never know with a new location. Yeah.
Exactly. You never know what's going to happen. And a lot of vintage. There was a big streetwear vintage. Yep. That was
That's
way
fire.
more than other events. So that was pretty cool because I like vintage. I'm not a big buyer of it, but I like it. I like the concept around it. I just can't justify spending $100 on a 20-year-old t-shirt.
Yeah, it has to be the one. The one piece that really speaks to you. For me, I've never personally owned a piece of super vintage that hasn't been passed down to me from my dad or granddad, whatever it may be. I've always been super into the Atlanta Braves vintage stuff because it looks super cool.
Yep.
Haven't found the right piece and the right size that really speaks to me yet, but we'll get there.
I totally get that. Yeah, and so the vintage was really cool because there was some pretty sweet booths all around, and
nice.
I did like that. So it was cool. A lot of sneakers. It was a good event. This was one of the first events I didn't buy anything at SneakerCon. So that was kind of I've had a couple events. I bought Atlanta. I bought Soleil Bembury Crocs and some New Balance 550s, and I ended up crushing the boxes because I couldn't fit them on my way home, and so
that's the worst part, man.
Yeah, so I didn't plan for actually buying a pair, so I didn't end up buying anything.
Yeah.
But overall it was pretty solid, and then the events continued. So I landed Sunday afternoon, and I had to get some Chipotle right when I landed. I got my car. Took the shuttle to my car, went and got Chipotle, and then talked to my mom on the phone, and then about 20 minutes after that, I just crossed into Wisconsin, because to get to Winona, you cross into Wisconsin just on the border, and it's quicker to go that route, because they have a highway right on the river and stuff on the Mississippi, and crossed into this town called Prescott, Wisconsin, and it's a really small town, kind of a bar scene, motorcycle guys going up and down, and going about 15 miles an hour, and I looked to my left, and I got T-boned.
Oh my gosh, man.
So, yep, and it happened to be a drunk driver, which made it just all the better. So, I ended up being fine. I actually got an X-ray and a CT scan this morning. Nothing was fractured, no broken ribs or anything, and it was a couple days ago, so I would have known about it now. But yeah, everything, it's more about tomorrow the car is going to get appraised, and it was my first car I bought. And
what do you have again? The Jetta? Is that what it is?
Yes, I did have 2012 VW Jetta in Tornado Red. It was a rare color, and I had the leather seats, and I had the CarPlay, and I loved it. I mean, it was great for what it was, and I had it a couple of years, and I put 60,000 miles on it in 2 years, so I've been driving it into the ground. So so it's probably going to be totaled. There's probably frame damage, so I'm going to find out about that tomorrow, which is kind of a bummer. But so if anyone has any car recommendations, like 15, 20 grand-ish, 10 to 20 grand-ish, let's say that, because I don't know how it's going to be appraised.
That's the hardest part right now, is like cars are so expensive, because I'm in the market for a car right now too, and I'm like,
it's brutal.
everything I want is at least 30, 40, and I'm just like, man, I can't decide what I want. I've got like 3 on the list. So
what's on the list? I'm curious. I want to hear.
So right now, me and my girlfriend are super into traveling and going on like hiking trips. So I'm a huge fan of Subaru. My family drives Subaru.
It's gonna be a Subaru.
Yeah. I love the Crosstrek, and I just think it's a dope, like, not compact car, but it's not as big as the Outback. So I've always loved it, and the colors that they choose for like options wise look really good. So we'll see. I'm kind of waiting till 2023, because they're supposed to come out with the Subaru or the Crosstrek out. What is it? I can't remember the name of it. Outlands edition. I can't think of the name of it, but the off-roading version of it. And I'm like, okay, we'll wait and see when that comes out. Maybe prices drop, whatever it may be. Aside from that, just a Honda Accord, because I love the body style of the new Accords, or like an really Audi. Dude, they look so clean. They look so clean.
I'm not even kidding. I was looking at one today. A Honda Civics, the new Honda Civics.
The Civics look good too.
And
Civics look good.
I was like, man, maybe I gotta look at one of those, because I like them a lot. There's a guy in my apartment building that parks one outside.
Because the new Civics look like Accords. They got the bigger body and everything, and I'm like, this could be it. Aside from that, maybe like an Audi A3, because I've driven those a lot, and I like it. It's the same body style as the Jetta, and my girlfriend drives a Jetta too, so I'm used to that.
What
and I like the size
Jetta?
of it. That's a great question. I think it's a 2013, 2012. It's almost the same as yours, because every time I've seen you post a photo, I'm like, hey, but hers is black, so I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I feel you.
That's interesting, because kind of while it's getting appraised, I've been looking at kind of the market on it. So I bought it March when COVID was going on, and it was right when COVID started, and so all the car dealerships are like, man, we got to sell these cars. And so
exactly.
And so I got my car for $7,500 with 90,000 miles, clean title. It was great.
That's great.
And now it's going for like 15.
Easily.
And so I was looking at pricing and stuff, and the Jettas are interesting because they feel very modern in them for what year they are. They do, stuff.
For sure.
And I loved it, but they didn't change anything really about it from 2011 to 2017. So that's why I was curious if she had the newer body style. And then 2018, they did a completely new body style, and that's kind of what they did, but they literally didn't change anything. Like during all those years.
The one she has, because her brother drives an A3, and they're the same car.
Yeah, it's the same car.
Actually, the Jetta has a bigger engine, so it's like, because hers is like the 2.5, and I think the Jetta is 2.0, or the A3 is a 2.0. So I'm like, the Jetta might win here, but They're both super fun to drive, but I'm
Interesting.
yeah. The second I saw your story the other night, I was like, "Oh no, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. I feel for you."
The Crosstrek. All right. I'm curious. So here's what I got on my list. I'm looking at the same year Jetta, because I love the car.
I get it.
I found one in brown that's like a reasonable price. It's actually a 1.8 with a turbo, so it's actually a little jumpier.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've been looking at. Shout out Chance. He's trying to get me into an Infinity, which I don't know if I want to be in the G37 gang or the Q50 gang. That's kind of a whole lifestyle itself.
Which one's the coupe? The G60, I think.
The coupe is, I think it's the 37. The 35 and the 37.
Right. Those, ever since they redesigned the body style, like it had to be like 2018. I've been a huge fan of those, but they're just, it's kind of pricey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wants to get me into like an older one with like the Ricer gang and get all the mods on it and stuff. And I don't know if I want to do that. And I don't think they're very good in the winter. The big thing is it's got to be good in the winter, because if it's not and it doesn't have heated seats, I'm screwed.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm looking at the Crosstrek, because it's all-wheel drive. I'm like, whenever we travel, I feel like it'll be dope. But I'm pretty sure that's what we'll end up getting sometime in the next few months. But because I don't even have a car right now. My old car, I had at my last job, I actually had a company car. So I had a 2003 V6 Accord Coupe, and that was the most fun car to drive through Atlanta. I loved it, but sold it for like $5,000, and it was a 2003, and I was like, okay, so we'll pocket that. They gave my company car was just a Ford Escape, and I was like, it's brand new, so I'll just drive this around, and it was fun. But then I parted ways with them, gave the car back, and now I'm just like, well,
carless.
What do I want to get? And of course, the second I part ways with them, car prices go through the roof. But luckily, my newest job's remote, so don't need a car.
Exactly. That's very
definitely
helpful
been worse.
For the time being. Well, sweet. 100%. Yeah, Jetta, Passat, possibly. There's really no difference between the Jettas and the Passats. I was trying to figure out a difference, and there's it's a little bit bigger body, but the engines are the same, the interior's the same. There's really nothing different in that year. And then I possibly a 4Runner. I was looking at those. Those are pretty sweet.
They're so expensive though. I want a 4Runner so bad.
The good ones. I
know. Because I want like a 2018 4Runner, but you're still paying like 40. I'm just like, is it worth 40? But I also really want like a Tacoma, and I'm like,
Exactly. Those are
everything Toyota is through the roof right now.
Yes. Yeah, actually, my buddy Jacob Starr, I don't know if you know who that is. He
I've heard that. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Big vintage guy. He just bought, I think it was a couple months ago, if not a year ago, he bought a green 4Runner, and the thing is sweet.
Yep. They're so clean.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know what I'll get. I'm actually going to make a few videos about it on my TikTok about car hunting. I think it would be kind of interesting, and trying to
follow along.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's an interesting topic. For people that don't know, I've done a lot of ATV and side-by-side videos for work all summer, so I kind of got an idea on the motor side of it. Plus, it's like I want to start posting. I get a lot of DMs just about what's going on in my life, and that's one of the reasons I want to start a podcast, is because we can just chat about it. Like, we're just two bros.
Exactly.
And it's mainly around sneakers, but I also want to start posting videos where it's like, I'm taking a trip to Utah. Here's like the agenda, and like I just told them my car, and I got a ton of DMs about it. And what are you gonna buy next, or what are you gonna get, or is it fixable? And so I might make a few videos about that. So who knows? We'll see.
It's interesting stuff, I love it. Cool. So I'll talk, I guess, a little bit about the Orlando Sneaker Convention.
I was just going to ask you
about
it.
It was a blast. Kind of similar to you. I had a very, very early flight. I think my flight left at 5:45 in the morning, and that was a blast. So I woke up at, I think it was 3 a.m., made sure I had all of my equipment together to go, get some footage or whatever it may be over there, and called the Uber. The Uber took forever. And of course, for some reason, the TSA line at the airport, Atlanta airport, always crazy. But the TSA line was insane. And I got there at 4 a.m. So I was like, I'm definitely like, no one's going to be here. This is going to be a breeze. I have an hour and 40, or I think it was like an hour and 30 minutes until the gate closed. Perfect. Easy. So hopped in line at TSA, ended up taking pretty much the whole time. It was the most stressful thing of my life. So I'm constantly checking my phone, being like, okay, gate closes in 20, gate closes in, however long. I got to get going. And while I was waiting in line, it was actually funny. I was just kind of looking around, trying to see who all was there. And I actually saw Alex Gigamas way off in the distance, waiting in line too. And I was like trying to wave at him, but I was like, he's not going to see me. There's way too many people. But I was like, he's going to SneakerCon. What's up? So I like DM'd him and everything, but it was funny. So rushed through TSA. I have never in my entire life missed a flight nor ran in the airport. And son, I ran in the airport. And it was the most stressful thing. So by the time I got through TSA, I think I had 15 minutes to get to my flight. And if you're familiar with the Atlanta airport, it's huge. So you have to take, the trains all the way to your gates and whatever. And I figured out the time between each train stop is 2 minutes. So the whole time I'm like, okay, flight's about to leave, gotta go. Flight's about to leave, gotta go. And of course my gate was all the way at the very end at E. So by the time I got to gate E, I had 4 minutes to get to my flight. And from the train stop out to the gate, there's this huge escalator. And I ran up that escalator so fast, and I thought I was going to die. And then got to the top, turned right, bolted down the hallway. I was literally, there were probably 6 more people boarding the flight, and I was the last person to get on. And I had never been more stressed in my life. And it was way too early to run that much. But
yeah, for real.
Luckily, I made the flight, so that was great. Landed, just kind of hung out in the airport a little bit in Orlando because I wasn't able to get into the hotel until like 1. So I just kind of chilled, edited some videos, made some TikToks, browsed content to get some more ideas. So yeah, it was cool. Got to the hotel, got a text from Mo, the guy that runs Sneaker Knockers, the guys that flew me out, and they were all meeting up to kind of set up the event. So met up with all of them to help set up some banners, get some footage of them setting everything up. And there were a few guys with them, so I just kind of started chatting. I didn't really know who anybody was. One of them actually ended up being Z Sneakerhead Z, and I had no idea. I thought it was so funny because we had probably been hanging out for like 3 hours at that point. And I just was kind of, small talk. We already kind of ran out of things to say. So I was like, okay, so what do you do? Do you make like TikTok, sneaker content, or you just here filming? What's up? And he was like, oh, no, yeah, I'm Z Sneakerhead Z on Instagram. And I was like, wait, what? I followed that page forever. You have almost like a million followers on Instagram. I was like, yo, that's crazy. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool meeting him and building that relationship. A few other guys there that all made content, but I had a blast. And then, we all went out that night, had some fun in downtown Orlando. And that was a blast. And then, the event started the next day, and we all just kind of walked around, filmed content, check everything out. I also met the guy who provides, Sneaker Knockers with a lot of their early pairs. So it was really cool.
Really?
To kind of put a face to everybody that I've kind of exactly. Shout out to Rico. But it was kind of cool. He had a whole booth set up with all these unreleased. I think he had probably 11 pairs of those slime green off-white Air Force Ones. A ton of just other unreleased stuff that either I haven't seen or, it's just been kind of under the radar. Yep. So I was kind of like, I approached him and I was like, yo, what do you do? This is like some crazy stuff in your booth. And he was like, oh yeah, I, just get early pairs and I work with a lot of sneaker brands. And we started talking and realized that we had both followed each other on Instagram probably for the past like 6 months. So that was funny. I was like, oh wait, you're this guy, and he was like, oh wait, you're this guy, and it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So it was nice to put a face to all of the content creators or sneaker enthusiasts that I've at least been in contact with over the past few months. So it's kind of cool.
Would that ever be a person that would be wanting to come on the podcast and talk about
100%.
it?
100%.
And talk about how he gets the pairs? About it. Okay, because I know we talked about some other guests that we're going to be having, but I was curious about that one because I'm not super familiar with the early pairs and how they're
I wasn't either until I got into
this. I know
this.
a lot of people aren't, and I feel like I'm pretty plugged in and posting about stuff every day, and I really don't know. So I think it would be really interesting if
crazy.
We got an insight on it. Stay tuned.
I thought it was fascinating. Exactly. Stay tuned. We have a whole lineup of guests.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We will get to it. But it was really cool because I was looking through his booth, and he actually had, I don't know if you saw them yet. They posted pictures or images leaked probably a week or so ago of these it was the New Balance 650, the high top version of the 550s. And it was a new ALD collaboration, and one was like a navy pair and the other was a gray pair. And he had all of those sitting there, and he had another pair of ALDs that I don't even know if I can talk about this, but it still had, the pen drawn lines on the outsoles where they were still like adjusting stuff on them. He like just got a New Balance plug, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. And
that's was that at the event so people could see him?
Yep, he just had them sitting there.
You can talk about it then.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I could probably talk about it. I don't know, because obviously when you're getting early sneakers like this, it's kind of a gray area,
That's why it would be really interesting to have him on.
Yeah, so I'll reach out to him. I know he said this is something that he'd be interested in doing. I don't know how much he can actually share, but
who knows?
At least talk about some early shoes that he has, because I know he already has his hands on the Black Phantom Travis Scotts that we were talking about on the last episode. He sent me a picture of him wearing those on foot yesterday on Instagram, and I was like, man,
what a baller.
Send me those for content. I need it. But
that's sick.
It was super cool.
I'm looking at those 650s you were just talking about.
They were kind of cool. I was like, wait, whoa. They caught my eye when I first approached, because I was like, I don't think I've seen these, but very cool in hand, pair. Very good quality. Yeah, there's a lot of cool ones on the way. But the sneaker event was fire. I'm really excited to keep doing that with them. They actually have an Atlanta sneaker convention coming. I think it's next month. I have to get the dates on that. Yeah, so it's Atlanta, and then I think end of November or mid-November they're actually doing Miami as well. So
really, that'll be
hopefully I get flown out to that too and meet a lot of other cool people. But I'm excited. It's cool. Fascinating meeting all these people in the sneaker space, because they're just people like you and me, and it's like, it's fascinating.
It's definitely fun. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm not some like crazy baller like traveling all the time. Like it just
same.
And I think you're the same way. Where I think that's why this podcast is going to be so relatable, because I've been going to these sneaker events for 2 or 3 months now. I got the opportunity to partner with SneakerCon and go to all of them for the year, and so I jumped on that, and it's been crazy. And so like when I say I'm going, I just went to Utah, and then in 2 weeks I'm going to Phoenix, and then Dallas, and a couple other really cool ones coming up on the end of the year that I can't talk about yet. But it's
definitely
it's it's wild for me. A lot of people are probably listening. They're like, this kid's just an influencer and whatever, and I'm not
super normal people.
Exactly. I'm very, very normal. Like I'm just sitting in my apartment in Winona, and I'm gonna play some Forza later, and I'm just like super normal. So it's like
I love
we're listening to this, like we're just normal guys, and so the opportunity to like travel like this it's crazy to me, and I think you think the same way. So
dude, it's a dream come true. We're getting there.
Exactly.
We're building the dream one step at a time.
Episode 2, baby.
Exactly. So you brought up SneakerCon. What was the first SneakerCon that they flew you out to? Or what was the first location?
Anaheim. It was SneakerCon LA. It was actually in Anaheim. Really cool venue. We stayed. God, I can't remember the name of the hotel. Super nice hotel. And the convention center was the Anaheim Convention Center right next door. They had food trucks out there during the day. It was a 2-day event. It was huge. I mean, it was a really big event. And so that one was a couple months ago. And then next one was Atlanta.
Yep.
Atlanta. No, it was Vegas for 2 days. And that was at the Mandalay Bay, and that was a really cool one as well. Super fun. And then it was Atlanta, and I actually got COVID in Atlanta. I don't know if you knew that.
I remember you posting about it, and I was like, "Dang it! I hope I don't have COVID." But
yeah, I didn't even. I totally
everything
forgot
was
about
clear
that.
on my end, so I remember seeing you post
go.
that on your story, and I was like, "Ah." But I mean, of course, when you're traveling and around all those people, like it's hard not.
Well,
to.
a lot of it with COVID too is like, for me at least, it's my body is very different with travel, sleep, and what I'm eating, and so we were just eating Dave's hot chicken and I mean just not sleeping at all, and so I was very susceptible to it because I was just out of groove and traveling and
it's hard.
Time difference
it's so hard when you're traveling because your body is just like, what is going on? This is not the normal thing we do.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly, and I'm still new to it because I mean I got on my first plane like 2-3 years ago. And then since then, it's the first flight since then was Anaheim. So I'm still really new to the traveling. And but yeah, it was Anaheim. Anaheim was the first one to relate it back to that question.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, there's so many cool events now, sneaker events, and I love it. I love networking with all these people and trying to learn as much as I can possibly learn from all these other content creators and people in the sneaker industry. Like, they have such good advice and words of wisdom because they've been doing this way longer than both of us. And it's like, I just try and soak in as much information as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's speaking of that, I hung out with Blazendary a lot in Utah, and we went out to dinner, and that's a great example of that.
That's cool.
He's been in it for years, and he's been one of the OGs on YouTube, and he's huge, obviously. If you haven't heard of Blazendary, then I don't know where you've been, because he's been around for close to 10 years, and so kind of picking his brain this weekend was really interesting, just kind of learning about the events. And I am with SneakerCon, but there's events like the Orlando Sneaker Convention, and then there's Kais just started up one, and
saw that.
God Soul is doing a lot of events, and so there is a ton of events, and it is exciting because there's a whole different genre of content creators in the space that it's fun to see kind of who's doing what and what's going on. So and we will be talking about all these events on the podcast because I think it's very interesting.
I do too. It's very cool. Awesome. Trying to think, what else do you want to dig into? Is there anything
I want to talk
about
upcoming shoes. On the personal side, I don't think I have anything. Just
pretty solid.
I'm getting back into the groove with classes after the weekend, and
I love it.
But no, I'm excited about these. We got some upcoming releases. I pulled up House of Heat. Shout out them. They have one of the best early release websites that I've seen, and I'm a fan of. And there's some upcoming shoes that we haven't talked about yet that I just kind of want to pick your brain on. So I got the first one I want to talk about is it's not one that people are probably going to know about, but I just want to briefly talk about. I just pulled this up. I haven't even seen these yet. The Air Force One Low basketball. I'm a big basketball guy. For people that haven't seen these, which I don't think a lot of people have, the swoosh looks like a basketball, and then the outer panels look like a net, and it's just on the main. It's on the main website on House of Heat, and there's not much to talk about it. I just thought it was a really cool shoe. So if you haven't seen them, then look it up, because I'm a fan of all neutral colors, and that swoosh that looks like a basketball is pretty interesting. So, big material guy, so I think that to see like a basketball texture on the swoosh is something I've never seen before. It reminds me a lot of the Jackie Robinson dunks that just came out, sport themed. And then they have like the retro Nike on the back, which is pretty cool as well. So
I like those. I like the knit material on the side. I wonder if that's like fly
that's the
knit or
word I
just
was
kind of like a
looking for.
mesh. It looks really cool.
It probably is. They're probably just reusing some other fly knit material, but
I would assume.
yeah,
I love that
just
basketball texture though. It makes it look so clean, and the thicker like rope laces they use on there.
yeah, the roll places. It's like a net.
I like
So pretty cool. I just wanted to mention those. But one shoe that I did want to talk about was the reemergence of the Mac Attacks. I don't know if you've heard
Dude,
about this, but they
I'm
are
so
re-releasing
excited
the
about
Mac
that.
Attacks.
For the first time since what was it, 1984, apparently too, which is
Yes, that
crazy.
what it says.
I think I'm still kind of trying to develop an opinion on the toe box because the way it like kind of splits into sort of like a U shape and it goes from like the first two eyelets to like the fourth eyelet. I'm like, oh, it's interesting. I don't know. But I love this silhouette. I think it's going to look really cool. I don't think we have any official images yet of what it's going to actually look like. So
That's
I
true.
don't know
Yep.
if it's going to look identical to this. I would assume it does. But if it looks anything like this, I think it's going to be a really cool shoe. And I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, it's the toe box. For people that don't know what a Mac Attack toe box looks like, it looks like a New Balance 550 toe box. I think that was a
True.
big thing in the 80s because, believe it or not, if you didn't know, New Balance 550s have been around for like 40 years. And they've just made a reemergence with social media. But it does look a lot like a 550 toe box, in my opinion. I was trying to think, because you said that, and it didn't look crazy odd to me, and I was like, I wonder why. Like, what shoe does it look like? And it looks like the 550s, which I wear a lot of those. So
That's a great comparison. I like that.
yeah, I wonder if it was just like the 80s styling, because it looks a lot like a 550. It looks like Nike's rendition of a 550. But I think it's a really cool. I'm curious if they're going to do different colorways with them, or if they're just going to do like the original, like this picture we're looking at with John McEnroe, the tennis player, wearing them. Yeah,
We just got to wait and see. I like how it's a mid, too. It's kind of cool.
Yep. Mid agenda. I'm pro mid agenda because
Same.
when I think of like mid agenda, I think of Jordan 1 mids, but then when I think of like every other mid, like Nike SB Dunk mids, super slept
Or
on.
like
Love 'em.
Blazers. Like Blazers really aren't that high either.
Nope.
Like they're essentially a mid, and then you think about like Vans, like skate highs, like they're kind of mids as well. Like they're not as high as the Jordan 1s, but
Well, even like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 2005 to 2013 Jordan 1 highs are like the same height as a Jordan 1 mid now.
yeah.
And so they're not even like, it's just the name. They get, that could be a whole nother topic, is mid agenda, but the Mac Attacks are returning. I'm a fan. I think it's a really cool shoe. I've seen a couple pairs posted on Instagram, people trying to dump their pairs now. But
I'm
I
excited.
think it's pretty cool.
It'll be cool. Okay, so one that I wanted to look at is this undercover Nike Air Force One Low SP. And it's just an all-white Air Force with that kind of sock liner material at the top with like kind of a heel cage on it. What do you think about these?
So this is my first reaction to them. They remind me of Huaraches, if I'm saying it correctly. The upper, like if you cut everything, like if you crop the image and it was just the upper, I would be like, oh, it looks exactly like
it's a pair of Huaraches. Yeah.
The back
know,
even.
man.
Look at the back on those. It looks
does
exactly
look-
like it.
Isn't it?
The tongue is, I swear, like the tongue, you look at these images and the tongue is,
And it has the U, like the...
yeah, I think
the
they just
Huaraches-
infuse them. Like, I think it's like
Yeah.
the Jordan Fusion series where they just put two different models together. Like, I think it's the black
interesting.
colorway with the speckled midsole and the purple
Oh,
upper.
I
That
just
is
saw that. I haven't seen
disgusting.
that. That looks,
I mean, those
that looks
are terrible.
directly like a pair of Huaraches, though. with that
Yeah, it does,
purple
and they
yellow.
look That purple and yellow is so gross.
I think these are so ugly, man. I
Or
don't
you
know.
look at this other colorway with all the hands.
With
What
the
in
hands?
yeah, that is like something Keto Wears would make. Like it does,
That's true. That
it
is
does
true.
not look like something Nike's. No offense, Keto. Like I love your
Yeah,
stuff,
no.
but it just like it looks like something they would make, like a really different. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? I'm not. A
I
fan.
don't know. It depends how people are gonna wear them, but I haven't seen the other colorways. I've only seen the white on white.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first saw the white on white, I was just like, oh man. What
The
is
white on
this?
white's
It's
the
not
best.
as bad.
Like I could actually
It's
wear the
not as
white on
bad.
white. The other ones are disgusting, and they are Gore-Tex too. So
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, the toe box is not perforated at all. So, and it says
Ooh, yeah, I
balance
didn't notice that.
chaos on the front. Like there's little charms at the bottom of the laces. So I
I
mean,
don't know, man. I respect Undercover, and I know they really like to push the boundaries of, just experimenting with footwear. But I don't know, man. This is not for me.
Undercover, the Nike 85, the Dunks that they released. They released all black Dunks, and there's a pair. The Friends and Family is a pair of white Dunks. And I've been on the hunt for a pair of those for a while because they are super fire, but they're like $450.
Of course
And
they are, right?
it's like a pair of Dunk Highs. So I kind of want to pull the trigger because like I love having shoes that like people don't have. But yes, at the end of this, let's talk about what we just if you've picked anything up.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yes, these are. If I was you were talking about the way that somebody would wear them. If I was gonna wear these, I would wear them with like a gym fit, like joggers, tight joggers with like a tight shirt, like.
Because that's all I think of too, like joggers. When you have that kind of like tight ankle material on your shoe already, I'm like
Exactly, and joggers don't really go with a lot unless you're wearing something like this.
Yeah, so. I mean, if people like them, they like them. I'm kind of eager to see how people style them, but we'll see. They're definitely
going to tank
for me.
I mean, with the market we're in right now with sneakers, they're not going to be reselling. I can tell you that.
100%. Okay, so for the next one, let's look at these. Photos of these have been circulating for a little bit, but we have an official look of the Air Jordan 1 Low Craft. It's that kind of royal blue with a gray back and kind of like suede toe box. Has kind of like more of an aged look.
Yes, the essentially Union Jordan 1 Low.
I said, yeah. What do you think about these?
I actually got to see them in hand in Utah.
Oh, you did?
Private Selection had a pair. Always, the early birds, they got everything.
Of course.
That's another thing is like I don't get all their pairs, but I did get to see these in hand. I didn't do any videos on them or anything, but the one thing I do want to note is when I had them in hand, the back liner where you actually put your foot in is a really nice leather material. The inside
is it okay?
Yep, and it's very premium feeling. I've always liked the exposed foam on the tongue.
Same.
I don't think I'll buy them. I could see a market for them with people that like Union, that like different materials, and they like the newer Jordan 1 Low cut. I hate the new Jordan 1 Low cut. I only like the OG cut. So
I agree.
What
And
are your
really,
thoughts
my
on
only
these?
my only thing with the new Jordan 1 Low cut is that the leather they use is so bad, man.
It's terrible.
Like, I don't mind the way the shoe looks. Like, if they were able to make this shoe with like premium materials, maybe not premium, but like what they're using in the OG lows, I would probably be more apt to buy them. But just when the material's that bad, I'm like, why would I waste my money on these? But
yeah. No, and something to note on these is that it is, from the pair that I saw, the blue leather is really nice.
Is it?
It's way better than just a regular Jordan 1 new cut. What is the new cut called? It's not. Is it just?
It's just
new
the OG.
cut, or is it?
Or no.
No,
The
new cut. Yep. Just Jordan 1 Low.
I think it's just the Jordan
idea.
1 Low. It might be the SP.
I think it's just the Jordan 1 Low.
Yeah, I think it's just the Jordan 1 Low. But
We're gonna go with the
yeah,
Jordan 1 Low trash. That's what we're gonna call
we're
it.
we're gonna go with that. But yeah, that was the only thing I was nervous about with this pair because when I initially saw it, I was like, oh, that's cool. Obviously, this is going to be a huge shoe. Like the second these hit shelves in Foot Locker, Champs, wherever it may be, they're going to sell out.
Yeah,
But
I think we're gonna see a ton of people wearing them because they are gonna be in the retail space. And you put this against like, I'm just thinking of like back when I was a kid when I would walk into Nike and like, here's your one pair of shoes for the next 6 months. Like I would buy these
100%.
over a pair of white Air Forces or something else just because
Absolutely.
they're so cool looking. So I think we are going to see a lot of pairs out there. I don't think they're going to be diehard sneaker fans, but
yeah, but that was the only thing I was nervous about, and I'm happy you've actually had them in hand because I
Yep.
was like, oh, this is a great looking shoe. Please don't ruin the leather, and
Yep.
please don't ruin the suede because Jordan Brand would come out with a shoe that looks this good and then just kind of have like, okay materials. And then you wear it a few times and it looks like you've worn it 100. I'm just like, I don't know. But it's a cool shoe overall. I like the color blocking. Again, I don't know if I would personally go for them, but if I saw them sitting on a shelf, might pick a pair up.
yeah, no, I like them too. I think they're not bad. I don't think I definitely won't buy a pair. Maybe I'll get a pair into review, but yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see.
they're
We'll
solid.
see. We'll get there. Cool. You can pick a shoe next. What is catching your eye?
So these just popped out today. They are the OVO Bapestas.
Yeah.
And we just saw images of them today. And I've seen the Drake Air Force Ones that still haven't released in hand.
The CLV ones. Yeah.
Yep. They're cool. But then we saw the Bapesta OVOs. And I don't know if you've looked at this. I want to get your thoughts on these first.
I
Very
have. I
interesting
actually made
materials.
a TikTok about them. I don't know if I've released it yet. I recorded like 6 or 7 TikToks yesterday, and I don't know which ones I've posted yet. But I know I made a TikTok about them. But they're cool. And actually, as I was looking around, I think it was on Nice Kicks today, there is a black pair as well to go along with this, which is
I'm
kind of
sure-
cool. But
Perfect.
I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the crocodile print, but it makes
very
it look,
different.
obviously, it makes it look more premium. I'm a huge fan of what they did with the Bapes to Star logo and then kind of fused it with the OVO logo. That's cool to me. I think it looks great. Overall, as a shoe, I don't know if I'm going to go for it. I don't really know what the retail price is because I know Bapestas are typically, a little on the steeper side, but it's a cool shoe. It exists and people are going to buy it. So, what do you think?
Very similar. I love the fusion of the logos. I think that's really cool. I do like
It's
the
different.
little
I don't know if they've
owl
really
charm.
done that on the Bapestas before.
I haven't seen that before. No, and it's different. That's kind of what I look for on shoe releases, especially like brands that aren't as well known as Nike or Jordan Brand or anything like that, or Yeezy or Adidas. I like Bapesta. I just think of a Fugazi shoe. I've never been a Bape guy. I've never been a Bapesta wearer.
Same,
There's some
yeah.
really cool colorways and there's a cool history with Bapesta. But yeah, the logo is love the logo. The material is a material I don't think I would ever wear. I love the color. It looks like almost a sail white. Like it's not
I think it
completely
looks
white.
good, yeah.
But
I like the little
OVO
OVO owl, little lace
owl's
lock on it
sweet,
too,
but,
or whatever that's called.
Yeah, they look premium. I'm very curious on retail of these because if they're like $130, I could see
I
people
think
buying
Bapes
them.
does retail for like 200 or 300.
That's the fear that I had.
I
because-
know. I'm not super up to date or well read on Bapestas though.
And especially with it being a collab, it might be higher. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the CDG foam posits was a $550 retail, and I love the shoe. You're paying a resale price instantly, and it's just impossible to buy the shoe, and that's why we don't see any of those foam posits around. So who knows? I think it's interesting though.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm curious to see if, I actually see people wearing these, but
Exactly.
maybe one
Yep.
day.
All right, I got another one for you. So
What you got?
I think we talked about the Adidas Adifoam Qs. There is a new
Yes.
colorway that was released, leaked, the core black. It's releasing September 15th. Since we talked about that, I bought a pair of the Q Foam, the white pair, and they're set to be here in 2 days, I think.
Nice.
So I'm very excited to get my hands on that. By the time this podcast is released, there will be videos out on them and everything. So this new colorway, black and orange, what are your thoughts?
I definitely prefer the one that you got over this. It is cool. I had a really hot take on these yesterday on TikTok, and people were flaming me for it. But I think these look a lot better than the foam runners, and I don't like that. I feel that way because I love Kanye. He's my favorite artist of all time. Huge fan. Always been a huge fan. But I just think this shoe looks better on foot, and the foam runners are just so bulky that it doesn't fit my style. But I like the way this shoe looks, and I'm sure a lot of people could really pull off this black and kind of hyper orange. I don't know what this color is.
Bright orange.
Yeah, it's highlighter for sure.
Exactly.
But it's super cool. I had at the Orlando sneaker convention, someone had a pair of the original colorway. It was a size
really?
13, so it was weird.
Oh, you were telling me about that. Yep.
Yeah, it was weird to hold it because it was a size 13, but it was cool. I mean, like, the materials feel great. It feels very cushiony. So I feel like it's something that I will definitely go after in the future. But, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this colorway?
Obviously, I'm very excited to get my pair in hand. My initial thoughts on this, the first thing I thought was Steve Nato put out a video of him taking apart the inside and the outside. And so my initial thoughts was putting the orange inside in the sail color because I'm not a black shoe fan. It doesn't work with my outfits. I'm wearing all black right now. It doesn't work. So I think I love orange. I'm a huge fan of orange and I love sail. So
it would look cool.
I'm very excited to see somebody combine them. Otherwise, the only thing that I'm fearful about this shoe, and I haven't seen them in hand, is also Steve Nato. Shout out Steve for the videos. The bottom. I don't know if you played with the bottom, the back part on the sole. That's concerning, especially in Minnesota where it could rain or it could snow in a moment's notice while I'm in class, and then I walk outside and my whole shoe is soaked because there's a hole in the bottom. So
that is a very good point.
I might have to hot glue something or jimmy rig something because I really want to wear them and I hope they fit me. I got a size 11. I'm assuming it's going to fit like a foam runner.
I've heard they're true to size, but
okay, yep, then that'll work.
You never know. But yeah, I didn't really think about it with like when it's raining or whatever because that's
what I think about being.
I'm sure be an issue. So. The way I kind of saw it when I had them in hand, it kind of reminded me how on like the Yeezy 700s and like Ultra Boost, whatever it may be, they all have that kind of exposed boost on the bottom. Yep. And it just helps the sneaker breathe and expand whenever you're walking. So I'm sure that was the same kind of design process with these. But of course, with Yeezys, Ultra Boost, 350s, whatever it is, you can't separate the boost from the midsole. So it's like,
and that's the different thing
is going to perform.
Is the boost is stitched into the shoe. And when you take the insole off the boost, you can see it's stitched and it's part of one. When you take the inside out of these, it's just a hole. Like you can see right through it. So, and you can see in the House of Heat photos, I believe that last photo is a picture of the shoe like looking through that hole. It might be part of the side, but I think it's the bottom gap, if I'm not mistaken, looking at the photo above. Right. So it's just a hole. Like, I don't know. I'm obviously going to be testing it. I'm going to make a few videos on it because I'm very interested about it. But I might put it to the test. I might do a little wear test on these. I
was about to say, wear them out in the rain and kind of see, like... But again, it's not like a shoe that you would wear in the rain, because it has that knitted upper and there's holes in the upper. Like, obviously... Like,
it's more of a summer shoe, and that's... it's interesting. I mean, I'm going to be very interested to see what they are. I honestly think these are kind of like an airport shoe. Like, I hope they're very comfortable.
100%.
And I hope they just look good and they fit, because if they do, you're going to be seeing me wear these all the time.
I would too. And I feel bad because I love Kanye and I don't want to be like, oh, they knocked off the foam runners. I'm not going to buy this shoe.
Technically, they did.
Like essentially it's like, okay, it's pretty close, but it's also like a remade version of the Adidas Quake from, I don't even know the year off the top of my head.
That's the technicality, yep.
It's like, it's not a ripoff, but they're capitalizing on the hype of foam shoes. So it's like, gray area for sure.
Which, talking about Kanye, I want to get into that a little bit. I believe they've made an agreement. I don't know the terms. I know that they, at the time of this recording, this is when Kanye was disputing Adidas, saying that they stole his intellectual property, they ruined his personal life, all this stuff, and he was demanding, I believe it was $2 billion and a bunch of other stuff is the post that he was... Yeah, this is during one of his wild feuds on Instagram. So I believe they came to an agreement, but do you think he is going to stay with Adidas?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Thinking a year out from now, do you think he is with Adidas? Do you think he's back with Nike, or do you think he's doing his own thing?
I don't think he's ever going to go back to Nike. I don't see a world where he wants to leave someone like Adidas, where he has so much freedom to create and do whatever he wants, to go back to a brand like Nike that has suppressed him for, I don't know how long he was with Nike, but, suppressed his creativity, didn't give him the royalties he deserved. I don't think he wants to do that. And he's talked about this a little bit in his little Instagram, I don't want to call them rants because they're kind of rants.
They're
rants. He's just kind of voicing his opinion, and this is the only way he can voice his opinion.
I think a rant is considered
all of his.
So
okay, fair. That's true. But I feel like he was talking about it a little bit, like going after some of these smaller shoe companies and just buying them outright and having access to their factories and just creating what he wants to create. Which, honestly, as a fan of sneakers, that's what I want to see. I do not want to see him go back to Nike and just, make another colorway of whatever it may be. I want to see him...
The easy one.
I want to see his creativity actually flourish and create something that is going to, shock everybody. Kind of like what he did with Yeezy. It's like, whoa, he's releasing 350s, the 750s, the original one that he came out with. I can't remember the number of those, but... It's like, I just want to see him create cool things, man. I don't want to see him be held down by Nike or Adidas anymore, which, Adidas gave him a lot of creativity, freedom.
And it's interesting. It's interesting because you're a huge Kanye guy. Love the music, have never liked the shoes type of guy. Some of the crazy releases that he's come out with, like the mix between the foam runners and the boots. I can't think of the name of those.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Super jagged on the bottom. I want a pair of those. I think those would be great in the winter, and I think they're wild.
They're
and
cool.
Nobody wears them. But they're so expensive. Like, resale is ridiculous on them.
Especially where you live, I feel like that's a great shoe.
And so, I've never been a big, like, Kanye. They're the Easy Knit Runner Sulfurs is what they're called. And I think they look wild. But I've never been, like, a big... I used to have a pair of 350 Carbons, never fit my feet. I'm very similar to Harrison Neville talks about this all the time. He's like, Yeezys don't fit me, and I have really wide feet, and I'm the same way. It just doesn't work. So
that's fair. See, I have narrow feet, so I love the way 350s fit. But I've only owned
You're
one
perfect
pair.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, but...
And I have nothing against them, but I'm more of like, fun fact about Kanye, so when he was on his Red Wing boot, the big bulky boots that were reselling for a ton on eBay, interesting fact, Red Wing boots, the company is founded about 40 minutes away from Winona, where I am. And it's in the city of Red Wing, Minnesota. And I drive through there like a couple times a month, and they have a big Red Wing shoes. And so I actually called them to see if they had the boots, and they stopped manufacturing them about 10 years ago because I wanted to get a couple of pairs.
Oh, wow.
from the factory, and they're like, yeah, we've been getting calls and we don't have them. But so the
That's
boots,
crazy.
I mean, I don't know. I've always been a big Kanye music guy. I love the Yee album. I love Donda. I love all of them. I've never been a big Kanye shoe guy. So I hope he does his own thing. I think opening up retail stores is interesting.
It'll be cool.
I think it'll be a really good. I'm a big marketing guy, so I think the marketing with putting all the clothes in a bag and refusing people to hang them up got a ton of publicity. And I think it's a really interesting. The more wild you can do, the more publicity you're going to get. Good or bad, it's still publicity. So
Definitely.
I hope he's on his own. I don't think he'll be with Adidas. I would say he'll stick with them for a little bit, but I say within the next year he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And I sure
Which
hope
sucks,
so too.
but also I'm like, it's time. They've released so many pairs. So it's like,
Plus,
okay.
when he joined Adidas, he was in a completely different phase of his life and
Absolutely.
everything. And the size of his brand was a lot smaller than what it is now. And I think he could do it on his own very easily. He's to the level
now,
where
yeah.
he's huge. I mean, especially with Virgil passing, like he is the guy now. Like he's the designer. Like besides Soleil Bembury, I don't think. And Soleil is not even close to Kanye. But, like, creator-wise and, like, sneaker-wise, I think he's the guy currently.
Completely agree. And I'm excited to see what he does next.
I am, too.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
What else you got for me?
Ooh, that's a good question. We probably have time for, like, one more.
That sounds good.
There's so many, though. We could talk about...
I got one
I don't know
for
if I
you.
want to talk
I got
about
one
those.
for
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Because this will segue into the last thing I want to talk about. Well,
Okay.
let's talk about two. So the first one,
Okay.
we got to talk New Balance. It's a theme. We have to talk New Balance.
We have to.
So the 1906D Protection Pack. We got another colorway. I am looking at an all sail upper with a black sole, and it looks beautiful. I love it.
I was looking at those earlier today.
It is gorgeous.
Think they look so cool.
They're fire. We were talking about the navy or the dark purple colorway last episode, and I think this new all sail upper, like I just can't afford to buy all these New Balances that are coming out, but I really
That's
want to.
the problem, man.
I really want to.
And New Balance are so expensive anyway. I'm like,
Yeah.
But the problem with New Balance, you can buy this pair and literally wear it for the next few years. You won't even
not
need
kidding you.
another pair of shoes. It's like, dude.
This pair right here, I have worn every single day for the last 3 weeks. Great
Really?
shoe, and you cannot really tell. I mean, you can still see the print on the insole. You don't get that with Jordans. I mean, it's like the greatest shoe. I paid $250 for them back in October of about a year ago now, and I could get $250 for them, so I've been able to wear them for free essentially if I sold them. And New Balance is just like, everyone knows, like, I'm big on New Balance. They know you're big on New Balance. So this 1906 colorway is money.
And I'm really excited because these have the exact same midsole as the 2002R. From what I can tell, I'm assuming it's the same, but that midsole is just so comfortable, man. I think it's amazing. And just like you, like, literally all I've been wearing the past few weeks is my 2002Rs. I have two pairs, and I just alternate between the two. Whatever I'm doing.
So
do I want to wear green or do I want to wear tan? I'm just like, there we go. But
exactly, they're so good. So the last show I want to talk about quick is something you probably are not expecting me to pull up: the Nike Air Presto Heat Map. So I think it's an interesting shoe. I've never owned a pair of Prestos. I
haven't either. I know they fit kind of snug.
Yeah, and so I would always size up on them if I got a pair. At least from what I've heard, I want to get the off-white Prestos at some point. But the heat map concept, what is your thoughts on this?
When do these come out? Because this would be a perfect... Like, this is a perfect summer shoe. Why are they waiting to release this shoe in September, man? Like,
the colors are summer. I mean, they scream summer. The green and the orange and the yellow.
I've never been super into Prestos. I love the way they look, but I love this shoe. This looks so good. This with like a pair of shorts and just like a kind of oversized t-shirt for summer.
I can
like,
see you
this is
wearing them
perfect.
right now.
This is perfect. Honestly, I might go after these.
That's
And they're only
and so-
130.
That's kind of high.
It is.
135
It is.
for a
Yeah,
pair
you're
of
right.
Prestos. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
thinking
true.
my baseline is Air Force Ones, and so anything over an Air Force One or a Dunk, which prices are going up on,
Yeah.
funny. But anything over like the retail price on a Dunk or an Air Force One, I think is on the higher end. That's like my baseline. I don't know what your baseline is, but my baseline is that.
Yeah. See, me right now, I kind of feel like 150.
And that's
But
reasonable with how high these
it's
retail
not
prices are
bad.
getting. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
Especially
think
when you see
anything
pairs
under,
going for like 200 right now. Like
Exactly.
250, 200 for a pair of shoes. Retail, I'm
the
like,
J Balvin 2s, $300
Oh my
retail
God.
price. That's outrageous. That's my video I'm
that
filming
drives
tomorrow.
me insane. Yeah.
I mean, it's they're outrageously expensive.
I
and
think
I get
it's
they
a
have like
great
LEDs
shoe.
and stuff, but
But for $300, man. I don't
exactly.
know. You've got to love it.
Yes, no, they're spendy. So I wanted to segue this into the final topic here. I
Okay.
got a couple new pickups. So I wanted to bring up
What
the
you got?
heat maps because I just purchased a pair of Nike SB Dunk Civilists.
Nice.
And so
Okay.
I've been wanting a pair. Like I said, I do not like all black shoes.
Yeah.
So, and it is kind of a summer shoe because it looks it looks exactly like this Presto when it's heated
Yeah.
up. Like that's exactly the same type of material. Like the look looks the same. It's a different material,
Yeah.
but
And it does
I've-
that every time you go outside, right? Essentially.
Exactly. Yes.
If it's like, I mean, hot outside. But
Yes, and so I got a big. I paid $400 for a size 11 VNDS, so I couldn't pass them up. I've been kind of just wanting to get them in hand for a while. I'm kind of on an SB wave, so I picked those up. Very interested to see them in hand.
yeah, I think they're cool. Someone had a pair at the sneaker convention I was just at, and I was like, these are kind of nice.
Same.
You know?
It's funny now that you bring that up. There was a guy in Utah. I was just
Yeah.
kind of doing my waves, filming stuff, and it was towards the end of the event. And this is something I'm scared of. The guy was wearing the shoes, and he was probably there all day, and you could see the front toe box. This part and this part was heated up while we were inside because his feet were getting so freaking hot. And so I could literally see the sweat on his feet through the shoe because the shoe is heating up and it's a different color. The rest of the shoe is black. And
Yeah.
so if I'm wearing them all day and like my toes start heating up because the dogs are barking,
kinda
I
funny.
mean that's gonna
Yeah.
be that's gonna be a problem. And I've never seen that before, but
Yeah, we'll have to see. You're going to let us know.
yes, so I picked those up. I got the Addy Q foams coming as well. The Addy Foam Qs is what they're called.
Yep.
And then
It took me a while to get that name down and how to spell it. I was like,
Addy and then
What?
FOM all caps
Yeah.
is like the official spelling of it.
It's weird. I'm so excited for you to get those, though. I kind of want to see them in hand.
I'm very excited to see them in
Or
hand.
on foot, you know?
Yes, and I'm curious sizing. That's going to be a big part of the content I do around them is sizing because I think a lot of people are curious about those as well. So I'm getting those in September 9th. So I don't know when you're going to be listening to this, sometime in October, but
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see them. By the time this comes out, I probably have sold them, and I've bought 5 different pairs with that money. So it's kind of how I roll. But
That's
who
so
knows?
funny.
If I like them, I'll keep them around for a while. Have you picked anything up since our last episode?
I haven't picked up anything, man. It was hard. It was so hard being in Orlando, too. But luckily, I don't know, my sneaker taste is a little different than most, so it wasn't super difficult for me to walk around the sneaker convention and not pick anything up. There were probably like 3 or 4 shoes that I saw in my size that was like, maybe I could get away with buying these, but luckily all I had was my backpack and I couldn't fit them in there, so I was like,
That's
all
the
right,
best
we're
way.
not going to buy anything this time. Now, when the Atlanta sneaker convention comes around, that's a different story because I'll
That's
just
gonna
have to
be
throw them in the
dangerous.
car. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
You got to buy a
but, yeah.
car before then, so you got no money.
That's my whole thing. I'm like, there's so many sneakers coming out, but I would love to have a car. So,
Yeah.
you know, pros and cons. Do I want to look fresh or be able to get to point A to point B? We'll see.
Exactly. Well, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. You want to sign us off?
I do. Yes. Thank you for listening or watching. We'll be posting clips of these everywhere on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, as well as major podcast locations. So, yes, thanks for listening. We will be back with another episode soon. So, stay tuned.
Yes. Thank you. Subscribe.